See if I can pull it up on my. Just going to try to pull this up on my laptop.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing on mine.
It hasn't shown up yet. All right.
Just got the notification for it on my phone, but obviously I can't look at it on my phone because I'm using my phone.
Yeah. But anyway, we got Mopar Nut 62 in here, so that's all we need.
Yeah, that's the MVP of commenters.
Yeah, and John, you're obviously one of the guys I'd love to have on here too. Like I said, I wouldn't mind kind of going through the rounds and getting the usual host of suspects on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. What do you know? Got them limited shirts.
Yeah.
So I haven't talked to the guys that I had these shirts made at, but I do have to get another batch out because after the last No Name Nationals, I have a couple people that I want to get this series of shirts out to. And then I think I'm going to try talking to Tony's Hot Rod Garage,
Yeah.
his company, about getting other shirts made. So
I heard he does good stuff. Yeah.
Been with Schultz.
They do good stuff. They do a lot of my stuff. It's just they're pretty busy overall, so you just gotta kind of get a little bit of time to actually sit down and share the idea. But I mean, they're good. They're just busy.
Let's see. Did anything pop up for you?
Yep, I got it loaded up here now.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't. Yep. But anyway, I'm able to see the chat down there at the bottom anyway. So
yeah,
I'll kind of keep track.
I can see that now. I didn't even realize that it was there. I was just looking at it on the computer here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you've got no A bodies allowed.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just not that big of a fan of them. I mean, they're good cars, but B bodies are better.
Yeah. It depends on what you're going for. I mean, if you're going to go out for all the full out racing, A bodies would be okay. John Wilburn's team A bodies for the win.
I saw him jump in the bottom there.
Yeah. Hey, John Wilburn. I kind of noticed both you and Cope cringed a little bit on my last premiere.
Yeah, cutting holes in anything, I kind of sit back and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Not only did we cut a hole in the car, we cut a 440 block, and then then we also cut up a set of fender well headers. But I got a pretty good deal on those headers from a guy who wasn't going to be able to use them. And hey, my nephew's in here. Hey, Derek, what's up? So Derek McLaughlin in the comment section is my nephew. I'm going to be trying to groom him this year to drive the Jack Pine. That'd be kind of fun. But anyway, Derek's a Chevy guy, so take it easy on him in the comment section. I'm trying to teach him the right way, but yeah,
it takes a while.
I knew like when we were cutting the engine mount off that 440 block, some people would probably cringe a little bit too, but that block already had like pinholes in the cylinder, so that it was going to need to be sleeved anyway. And I'm trading that block to Jeff for one of my 400 blocks. And that's the one that's eventually going to be turned into a Stroker 540. But For right now, it's just being used for mock-up. The sad part is if, we get everything to fit the way we want, then when we do get the engine from Gary, that engine's going to get the chop too. So, and that is a 68 block. So that one's kind of going to
Yeah,
hurt some
that
feet.
one hurts a little. That one hurts a little.
Yeah. We got Chris Testa in here.
I was just about to say, there's Testa.
And when we were cutting the hole for the fender well headers, I was like, I knew there was going to be a pretty good sized hole, but Jeff kept cutting and cutting and cutting, and even I was like, "Oh no!"
Stop
but,
cutting. You're removing too much.
but the cool thing about metal is you can always replace metal, And we did get that header to fit on that side. We were going to try today to get the other side to fit, but Jeff had a bunch of stuff going on, and he wanted me to get that oil pan from you, that Mylodon oil pan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in real life, it's the opposite. Ryan's quite a bit taller than me, but hopefully
Yeah.
sometime this week we'll get out and we'll get that other header fit on there. And then John, we just found out that part of the reason that 62 that Jeff's dad has with a 440, the reason that's setting perfect where we would want it is because they'd already done that swap where they used a 68K frame. And another issue we're running with moving that engine back is that the steering, um, that arm is kind of hitting in the oil pan. So we're going to have to notch the oil pan. But we're going to try that Mylodon oil pan that was on my 76 440 when I got it from you to see if that clears, because that one's a little bit thinner in the back and just kind of like deep down in the center. But if we do have to modify an oil pan, we'll do it. Yeah, the 68K frame. The thing with that too is if we had the right K frame, that would move that steering back as well, and then we wouldn't have had to make our own cross member and stuff. But I was always planning on using an engine plate because that K frame had already had the engine mounts cut off of it. And I'm surprised Tom, the guy that I got the car from, didn't mention that to me. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're going to want to move the engine back," and I guess we didn't tell him exactly how we were going to go about doing it. But it's going to turn out pretty good. I think having the engine set back just a little bit is going to help the car with launching. Might help the front end come up a little higher. And that car is supposed to be more of like a 70 street freak car anyway. I'm always this close to committing to full gasser on it. That might be phase 3 or 4, later on down the line. But, just getting the engine centered and moved back since we're using an engine plate, that'll kind of set it aside from some of the other cars out there. And Jeff was against the wheel well headers as well because he knew how much work it was going to be. And you can't find B-body wheel well headers, they're pretty expensive. And if you can find them. So we're making
A-body. Many of them around.
And I heard guys say they made the A-body wheel well headers fit, but nobody ever says how they did it. So we're kind of out there in unknown territory. But I figured these headers, they're not ceramic coated or anything. So we got time. We can kind of cut them up and move them around a little bit to see where we want them. And then we're going to get them ceramic coated later.
Yeah. That'll be nice to get them ceramic coated.
Yeah. But, that's the look I wanted. I want when you look in the engine bay, there's the engine, everything's going to be polished and, blower and everything. And then you're going to have the headers going out, The other new realization is we're going to do away with the hood. I'm probably going to get a fiberglass one from Sled City because we're doing the front bars that go like from the firewall down to the front frame rails.
Yep.
And I want to lay those on top of the inner fender well and then just come down right before the radiator. And I want to follow that as close as possible and snug. And the only way you can do that is if you do away with the hood hinges. So I told Jeff we're going to do away with the hood hinges so we can do those front bars. And that'll make it look a lot cleaner too. And then if you guys ever go back, way back when I had my 70 Coronet, that was a air conditioning car. And it had all those holes in the firewall. and Gary made that aluminum piece that was shaped really nice, and he bead rolled it and riveted it in place. It was kind of a custom touch. I was thinking we'll do stuff like that, like once we know where the headers are going to go into those uh, inner fenders, we'll put those aluminum, like some bead rolled aluminum pieces there over the bigger parts of the hole. And then I want to do that gap between the grill and the radiator support. I want Gary to make like a custom fill piece there out of aluminum too, with some bead rolling. So the car will look better when it's done. This is the painful phase.
Yeah. Well, it'll have some nice touches though once it's done.
Yeah. My nephew Derek bought his daughter a Bigfoot. Yeah, I got that picture, Derek. It looks cute. The question is, does she like it? But you got some big changes coming now. How's your project going?
Well, not a whole lot of major progress right now because it's like -5 or something as we speak, and I don't really want to be out there. But we're working on a bunch of shop stuff right now, getting stuff figured out for that. But once that's done, we'll be able to work on the cars a little bit more.
Yeah.
The Super B, which is the plan for No Name Nationals, that's going to be getting quite a bit of attention. There's still a fair amount to do. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, well, how far away is it from running? Well, I could tighten down the carburetor, run a couple wires, and fire it up right now. But that doesn't mean it's a running car, really. So we got a lot of little things to do. I just got a brand new radiator for it.
Yeah.
So that's good. Brand new aluminum radiator that looks like stock, and I'm going to paint it black. So, I mean, at a glance, it'll look stock.
And that's
it'll look
a
nice.
radiator place here in Minnesota, in Asante. Yeah, they make really awesome radiators. They look pretty close to stock.
Yeah, Auto City Classics.
Back this time around. So.
Yeah, it's seems like it'll be a good unit. I definitely want to keep the thing cool, and I've got an aluminum water pump for it and water pump housing that I'm going to put on it as well. That'll maybe help keep it a little bit cooler. But actually, I was doing a little weight comparison on a cast iron one versus the aluminum, 440 source one that they sell. I think the total, if you were just put the total units, next to each other on the scales, there actually is about a 7 or 8 pound difference between them, and that's right off the front end of the car. So that's a good spot to remove the weight.
So you might recognize Black GTX in the comments, Ryan. Mopar's in the Park, that perfect black GTX with the black steelies that's always at the shows. Do you know which one I'm talking about? He's got drag radials on the black on the back.
What year?
It's got interior. The black 69 GTX.
Yep. I think I remember that now.
Yeah. And he's got like an Apache truck that was at another car show that I videoed. He's got some sweet rides. Back when I had my satellite, I found pictures of his black GTX, and he had the 295/65 drag radials on the back of it. And I know one time at a show about 3 years back, I talked to him and asked him how he did that. Because when we put him on the 15x10s, both you and I know those didn't fit. So, but no, that black GTX is one of the sweetest cars I've ever seen. It's about as close to my dream car as you can get.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There's a chance the Super B might be at Mopar's in the Park, but we don't know yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be running and driving around probably by then, but we don't know if it's going to make the trip up there or not. It just depends on what other stuff we're trying to bring.
Is it too early, or are you going to tell people one of the things you told me that your dad suggested doing to it?
Funny you should mention that.
Yes.
I
You're not going to cut
I was just cleaning it.
but you're not a butcher.
trying to get
You're
it
not,
cleaned.
you're not a butcher like me. You're not just going to hack a hole in your air grabber hood.
No, no.
You're going to
Nope.
show a little.
I got regular, flat coronet hoods. I think I have 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I don't feel too bad about cutting a hole in one of them. And I've even seen people be like, "Oh, well, why would you cut a hole in a flat coronet hood?" I'm like, well, first of all, it's a flat coronet hood. Second of all, I know where about 10 of them are sitting and
Yeah.
cheap. So
Mm.
it doesn't really bother me too much.
And even if it's one that the average guy probably wouldn't want to use, just as
Yeah.
long as because I imagine you'll probably flat black it or something, or try to match it,
Yeah.
or no.
Probably black.
And it's only a temporary hood anyway. That car's not going to run with that, so you don't have to use the nicest hood you can find.
Well, and I mean, you look at the car. It's got dents and dings and a couple rust spots and whatever. I mean, it's not a show car, so it doesn't need the highest quality of stuff.
Yeah. And I will stand by. I think the '69 Cornet Super B, that's probably the sexiest body that Mopar ever built. I lean toward the '69, Plymouths, like the GTX and the Roadrunners, as being more of my favorite. But man, the Cornets and the Super Bs of '68, '69, I just love the hips on those, and then the grill looks angrier. I always thought
Oh
they
yeah.
were cooler than a Charger, to be honest. But I'm probably one of the few
Yeah.
people who think that.
I'm always
And you
working
could
on
say,
little stuff towards the car. Even right here, I got the carburetor. I might run on it temporarily. Well,
yeah,
pieces of it.
my nephew's trying to start
Basic.
in the comments. He's saying the '69 Camaro is the best.
No.
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 I keep teasing him. It's like, well, I guess then he doesn't want my cars when I pass away, because they're not Chevys.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys can keep all your Camaros and Novas and whatever else. I'll keep the Super Bs.
Derek, I'll introduce you to your new uncle, Chris Testa. He has a Chevelle and a '69 Firebird. You'd probably like him better than me.
Testa gets a pass though, because all of his stuff is super super nice and just awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Black GTX, a '68 RT would be a grail car. But
Well, I have a '68 RT.
yeah, I'm looking forward to this year's No Name Nationals, because I think some people are going to be bringing some new cars. Like especially if you bring the Super B. I'm hoping. I know Brad's Beep Beep is completely awesome. Maybe he'll bring 2 cars, but if he gets that Coronet that he's building done, that's going to be wicked.
Yeah.
That's I love the his goal with that car. It's going to turn out super nice. I see.
Oh, Testa's trying to take a swing at the B.
That actually would probably be a pretty good race. You probably have him a pitch on horsepower, but his car's probably a little bit lighter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love
He knows
Derek.
how to drive.
Dakota's timeout is here.
Time him out.
Yeah, me and Chris Tester are gonna force Dakota and Hunter, those guys to come back.
Yeah. That was
They
fun.
talked a
I
bit
didn't
last year. They got to come.
I didn't get to talk to them much, but I crossed paths with them a couple times. They seem like a lot of fun.
But yeah, Derek, earlier me and Ryan were talking. My friend Cullen was saying that to rent Oak Grove 8th Mile track was like right around like $800, and he's got a group of guys. I know him and his dad for sure. And then I've got a few friends and stuff. I think we're going to wind up renting Oak Grove, the 8th Mile track. So Derek, I'd like you to come up because it won't be like a racing event where everyone's trying to get their time trials in and then the race at the end of the day. It'll just be a bunch of friends hanging out, running their cars down the track. So that'd be a good opportunity to kind of get you to kind of learn how to, like stage and get a routine, and how to set, in your car and stuff when you go to race. And I was telling Ryan if he gets his B done, even if you don't get your B done before we rent the track, just to be able to sit in a car and get used to pulling up and staging and stuff would be just great practice. And it'd be a
Heck,
lot of fun.
if the B's not ready, I'll bring the Cornet.
Yeah, yeah. Be basically the same, except manual versus automatic. And then
And a
Derek,
lot less
I'm
power.
the Jack to Thunder Valley Raceway there in South Dakota at least once or maybe a couple times this year. So we'll try to get you some wheel time. But yeah, if we rent the track, Cullen, he's got his square body with the supercharged LS, and then he's always got some other kind of toy around. And then his dad's got like a 32 Ford with a blown big block Chevy with nitrous. And then Jeff's and his son would come, so that'd be two more cars. And then I'd like to invite like Ricky and Rick up, and then even like the BTV guys if they want to come up, and then anyone like Jay and Jason, try to make a day of it. The only thing I would be for those guys, it'd be such a long drive. I don't know because you can camp at the track, but if we only rent it for the one day, then it would kind of be, can we sleep there and leave in the morning? They probably want us out at the
Right.
end of the day, or sleep there the night before or whatever. I don't know, but it'd be fun. But nothing else. Just to have that much access to a track and kind of test and tune and hang out with friends. Kuda Dan would probably come. I've been like last year I had him close to coming to the track, but his car, he was busy working on other cars and stuff. But I want him to get his. He's got a Sassy Grass Green 70 Barracuda race car with a 500-inch stroker and it runs tens. So Dizzy Izzy's here. Hey Dizzy.
Well, and Roy's here. Hey, Roy. I saw he was up a little bit. I missed him earlier.
Dakota said he's going to put a big block in his Camaro. So what's he said? Oh, he's just wanted to go so he could say he beat a big block silver Chevelle.
Yeah.
Well, then, John, we should just move No Name Nationals to Minnesota.
No. Let's not talk about moving it now.
No.
I like where it is.
Yeah.
I think 99% of people like where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got
hey, it'd be nice.
Chris and Dakota in the comments section.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to actually being able to make it, with the car, be out for, all the just fun stuff that goes on and be able to make it down the track.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have any like races or big call outs or anything going on. I'm just there, and if I race with some people, cool.
Yeah, if I get to the track more, the goals I set for myself is, ultimately, I want to get the Jack Pine at least into like the 6-7 range. I want my 60 foots back in the 148, 149 range, and that's kind of like a small goal I have. Anything faster than that would be just gravy. Oh, yeah. King Erickson here. Yeah, John. It used to be $500 to rent that track. Cullen said, "Oh my God, it went up." And I was like, "How were we not renting it every weekend?" 5 guys rent the track. Jeez, it's almost what it costs.
5 guys, $100.
So you figure, like, whenever I go to the track, besides trailer rental, which I've talked about before, but you pay a gate fee to get in, so it's like $18, almost 20, and then to get your car registered and like and to race, I think you're looking at like another 40 to $50. So right there, you're at 60. So if you had 8 guys, $100 a piece, you're really not doing that much, and you're probably going to get a hell of a lot more runs.
Roy, no, the Super B is an automatic.
Yeah.
That 727 automatic.
But the Cornette's a 4-speed.
Yeah, the
So you're going to
Cornet
be
is
a double.
4-speed.
Yeah, Gainesville. Yeah. John, wherever you had it, I would be willing to make the trip. I know, like, it's been kind of nice that it's where it is. I mean, it's what, like 10 or 11 hours for us, Ryan?
Gainesville, what?
No,
Oh, it is Lexington. Yeah, about
it's for us, but
11.
said it's a nice central
About 11.
location. But I think if the track kept growing or if the event keeps growing and stuff, and if it were to move to somewhere else, even if it was a little bit further, I think a lot of us that go there are dedicated enough that we would try to make it work. It would just be the guys like from Texas and poor T of T's Good Time Garage that would have the have the hard time, I think.
Yeah. You could book Hawaii. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are gonna have their cars in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's a little bit expensive, Mrs. Foots would probably put her foot down. She would go to Hawaii, but taking the car would probably be, you know.
Yeah.
But so since we got a few more people in here, Ryan, there's a number one question that all my people that watch my video channels know that I know you. The number one question I think that they all ask is, how did you come up with the name of your channel?
Oh, of my channel? It's the same one I use for everything.
Everybody's like, this guy's garage or that guy's speed shop, or but you're just throwing it out there, Ryan Barsness. It was pretty wild.
Hey, same as John Wilburn.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't think of it much.
Speaking of T Good Time Garage, he's actually in here.
There you go. Yeah,
So I feel pretty honored.
Strategy.
World champion bracket racer such as T in the comment section.
Yeah.
In his last video, he had all of his trophies up on the shelf behind him, like neglected with dust collecting on them because they don't mean anything to him because he has so many.
Yeah. Yeah, T, you definitely got to try to come back next year if you can.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's a far drive for you, though.
Yeah, that was one of my highlights this year. Him and Dude Mopar are coming. It was really cool because, they're channels that I've been following for a while, and I really like them, their channels, and they seem like really awesome guys. So once they both showed up, I'm like, man, this is cool. Blake's in here. Hey, Blake. So Blake, we were talking a little bit about how Cullen's the guy that owns 111 Customs. He's the guy that put the engine in the Jack Pine for me when I first got the car ready for the first No Name Nationals. Him and his dad and some friends would sometimes run out Oak Grove Raceway. It's an 8th mile track. And I was saying, if we do that, I would love for like you guys from Bad Tree and Rick and Ricky last year, Rick and Ricky talked about possibly coming up to that track to race with me because they kind of come into Minnesota. They have like a cabin somewhere in Minnesota here, so that's something that might be on their radar. But the other track I wanted to throw at you, Blake, is how close are you guys to Rock Falls? because that's an awesome track too. That's really nice, and you can camp there and stuff. And it's a quarter-mile track and has a really nice shutdown, and the facilities are all brand new there. Um, Jeff and I talked about definitely getting down to Tri-City or Tri-State. Chris is talking
I
to.
definitely want
But
to
yeah,
go to Rock Falls with you one day.
oh yeah, it's just really cool. Like I said, I like it because it's got the long shutdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jeff was feeling bad because like for almost a year and a half, 2 years, he hasn't been racing because he's had his cars all torn apart. And he built that Valiant. Then he was building the Blue Duster for his wife, and then he was building the Black Duster for his son. So his race cars got neglected. So until he finally got that blue car done, he wasn't able to go to the track and race. And he's got the fever again. So this year he wants to make it about racing. So that means we're gonna try to get out as much as we can.
Yeah, I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I've never actually been down a track yet. So
It's
this year's
yeah.
the year.
I hadn't until probably a month before the first No Name Nationals, and even now I don't have my routine down a lot. I still get nervous, when I'm pulling into the pre-stage area, and you know, and that's part of the reason why my reaction times are all over the board. Chris has given Dakota advice about his heads that he just got for his Pontiac motor. He got some aluminum heads. And yeah, definitely have someone go through them and check everything. Don't ever run them out of the box. You can, and you can get lucky, and a lot of guys do. It's just that, for your benefit, you're going to be just that much better off. If you're spending that much money on an engine, you definitely want to, make sure that nothing happens down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake was saying you'd get hooked after one pass, Ryan. It is. It's just, just being able to go all out on your car is just a lot of fun. I mean, I used to always
just messing around with them on the street and stuff. I mean, I'm even just hooked on that. So being able to actually see what it'll do would really be cool.
Because I was always a car show guy who dreamed of like maybe someday like taking a car to a track, but I never thought. I was more into the car show and how a car looks and everything, and kind of still am. But once you take your car to a racetrack, it's like car shows are kind of boring. I still love going around and looking at different cars and stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to warmer weather so we can actually get working on stuff more.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just today. Oh, sorry, but I was just gonna say, just today, after you left when you were grabbing the oil pan and stuff today, went out and I was looking at a pair of center lines that I have that have got 30 by 12 and a half slicks on them. So I figured, I'll grab one of these, bring it over from the barn to the garage, and just see what it looks like.
Mm.
By the time, I was dumb and I didn't wear gloves. But I grabbed that bare 0-degree aluminum. By the time I walked from the barn to the house, I couldn't feel my fingertips, and I had to run them under warm water. And like the actual pads of my fingers, where like your fingerprint is,
yeah,
it hurt to touch anything for like almost an hour.
Yeah,
it was bad. I'm sure I was not far from frostbite. So yeah, if you're gonna touch cold metal, don't do it with bare hands.
But it was only -2 today. What?
Yeah.
But it'll be cool to see those bolted onto the car. If you guys haven't seen it,
I need to get. I probably need to get tubes for them.
Yeah.
I tried throwing air in it, and it's like, no.
Especially if it's cold out.
Stem.
Yeah, and those have bead have the screws in it for the bead lock too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's not going to work. If it was hot out, it might work, but
Yeah.
yeah, the last
They're
two, Blake, the swap meets have been my favorite part of the car shows too. I walk around and I do my car show videos where I take pictures of cars, and I still love like looking at really nice cars. And when I do my videos, I always try to show what I'm looking at when I look at certain cars and why they stand out to me. Like
mhm.
earlier, that guy Black GTX, if he's still in here, he has that '69 GTX. If you look at every one of my Mopars in the Park videos, and I think one of my Street Machine National videos, I've always got that car in there because it's just perfect. Someday maybe I could go for a ride in it. uh,
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
but yeah, once I met Ryan and started seeing the behind the scenes at the swap meet, and then once I actually started selling parts and making money, I was like, man, this is nice. I don't feel so
Yeah.
silly about the parts that I bought because at least you get some of your money back on them.
Right.
Well, this guy that I got those A body fender well headers from, um, he decided not to cut his dart to put those in, and he paid full price for them in shipping. So I kind of felt guilty because he sold them to me for a super reasonable price. I pounced on him. That's also the reason why we were okay to cut them. uh, but so I swapped some parts for him, and then he's got some other parts I want. So, and then he's got a couple of trailers of some A body parts. So I introduced him to Jeff. So now you got like more guys in the parts mix and stuff. The fine stuff. Which to me, that's the best part about the car hobby is making the connections, and this guy who has this guy does that. Um, it just really helps out, makes the hobby a lot more fun.
Yeah. And there's a lot of swap meet guys I know, and then you had the Jack Pine at Mopars in the Park last year, and man, when you drove by them, and they love that car.
Yeah,
Those guys in the middle.
yeah, yeah. It gets
My
it's
version of Mopar Jeff. That's what
if
I
I
call
was
him
to
because
do
he's Jeff.
everyone always says leave the car alone, leave the car alone, leave the car alone. But if I was to do one thing to the car, um, I would love to try to peel the sticker off the side. And if it's not faded into the car, I would like to have someone duplicate back in the day when the car used to race and it had the Jack Pine Savage on the rear quarters. I'd like
Yeah.
to have that duplicated the way it was back when the car was first being raced. Back then, it had one of those pro stock hood scoops on it too. It was a lower one, but it had one of those instead of uh, the traditional hood like the '67s have. So, but to me, that looks just as cool as like a stock, RT. Looks more cool because it's kind of a day two car, and that's what I like a lot.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I got to try to peel the sticker off to see, and then once you do, you're screwed. Because if it is, then what do you do? Have someone paint the door, But
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
And
think
that color would not be easy to match.
Blake, in one of your comments, that Wolverine guy, that's what he does for a living, isn't it? Like letter cars and stuff.
I don't know.
Black GTX is saying his car's far from perfect, and I'm like, well, that's a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
That's a
It's a very nice car. I've seen it.
you know. Uh, yeah, I think Chris and Dakota are still hashing it out in there.
Yeah.
Someday I'll be
Yeah. They're
and
entertaining.
I'll be popular enough to have my own groupies. uh, but is all the glass in your Super B? I know it's like the rear quarter glass
No windshield.
but it needs a windshield, but it's got the side door glass already in still.
Yep.
So that
Door glass, quarter glass, rear glass.
so it's just a matter of kind of putting the interior together, getting a windshield.
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna throw new carpet in it, and then I'm going to basically bolt the seats in. I might not have a back seat immediately. I don't know, just because my back seat is very chewed up.
Mm.
So
And you're running a
I
factory
don't know.
gas, so you don't have to worry about having the rear firewall.
Yep, yep. I've got factory gas tank. It'll be factory fuel lines, mechanical fuel pump, batteries in the front. So don't have to worry about kill switch or any of that stuff.
Yeah. The car got painted in 1990. This last time around, I think, if I remember right. Been out a few times, but it's set for quite a few years too. So I probably had it out in the sun the most, the last stint of its life. But Blake, your car looked really good in person. The you know uh, I forget what you call it. I want to call it the death pumpkin, just because that's what we were teasing you about. But and that car looked pretty.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty shiny. I was pretty impressed. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Is there'll be some ghosting.
I'm looking forward to seeing how that Super Bee looks in the sun with the paint polish.
Mm, yeah, and that car is
I
so
mean,
solid.
yeah.
That's what's mostly impressive. Such a great base, to start from.
I mean, you saw it today real quick. I mean, how it really kind of shined up that fender and stuff. I mean,
And
it's kind of
you
kind of
got the
crazy.
perfect, you got the perfect stance and the perfect size wheels on the front and the back of that thing too. It looks like it's leaning forward, ready to kick someone's ass. That's the look I like. Nah, dude, the Death Pumpkin's pretty cool. Like you said, you get the right engine in there, that's going to be a hell of a combination.
Oh yeah.
And
It's
it's my
just
school color. In high school we were orange and black.
there you go. You just gotta get it fixed, and gotta get it to make more than one pass at no name. But hey, that pass you made, it sounded like it was gonna be, pretty good. So it's all up from here.
Mm. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying to shake my car down. Uh,
Yeah.
it's still not, the suspension's still not working the way it's supposed to, but
I'm curious how my suspension will actually be working on the Super E, because the rear springs in that car, to the best of my knowledge, are stock,
yeah.
but something about that car, it sits up in the back pretty good.
Mm.
It sits pretty high in the back. I mean, I parked it, well, I didn't, but I've looked at both the Coronet and the Super Bee next to each other, and the Coronet is significantly lower in the back,
Yeah.
and that's got a Dana with Dana springs in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because the Super Bee was factory ordered with 391 gears, which actually, technically, if you read the codes, gave it the like super heavy duty suspension, the 440 and the Hemi torsion bars and leaf springs.
Mm.
So
When I sold the leaf springs out of the jack pine, Joe put that video up about like old school Mopar suspension racing parts when he was kind of taking apart that 70 Roadrunner, and he showed the
yep,
part numbers and then the heavy duty springs that were on that car, and those were actually what were on the jack pine originally. So the guys that the BBs that set up that car to race, they already had the dead shocks in the front that were drilled out, so the front end would come up, and then they had the car balanced weight wise, where it's got a really good bias. It's almost 50-50, and then with those heavier springs and stuff on the back, those were the springs that were recommended for that car at that time. So it's kind of interesting seeing like how the old guys had that stuff all figured out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I guess I never even looked. I don't know what shocks are in it.
Mhm.
Um, but there's a lot of stuff. I mean, where I'll get the car going like it is, and then I'll, pretty much address issues as I can.
Mhm.
Maybe test it out, see how it goes, see how the suspension moves. Maybe I need to change to different shocks. Maybe I need to adjust this or that, or pinion snubber here.
Well, I
It'll
gave
just
you the
take some time.
rear shocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those would be worth bolting on. Um,
Mm,
I want to say they're probably like a 50-50 shock. I'm not sure. I think basically all they are is a glorified C body shock, or like about they're a little bit longer. They're like a 24 1/4 inch or something. But they're the same ones Mancini sells still, as the super stock shocks. But
okay.
they might be a little bit stiffer, so if you put them in the car, it might give you a little bit more. And then if um, I think I even gave you those dead shocks too. You could always just put them
Yep.
on for the race and then put your regular shocks back on,
Right.
afterwards. That'd give you a good weight transfer, I would think. You know.
That's one thing I was even talking about actually in one of our group chats we're in was you know maybe I would change shocks for no name nationals or something, but like the front sway bar that's on the car, it'll be on the car for when it's around the street, but there's no reason to have it at the track.
Yeah, yeah, that would come
There's
off for the track.
there's probably between 20, maybe almost 30 pounds just right off the nose.
And then Blake, you guys are going to the tailgate throwdown, aren't you? You're gonna hopefully take the D50. I wanted to throw that out there because I'm planning on attending that event too. Ryan Wing from Streetcar Chronicles is putting on the tailgate throwdown,
Mm.
and my buddy Cullen, who has 111 Customs, built that square body short box with the supercharged LS, and he's super stoked about going to that. So I'm definitely going to be in attendance. Yeah, like Blake was saying, and then Blake, I gave him the shocks that were in the Jack Pine, so they are like front shocks that were drilled out and basically dead shocks, and then the rear shocks were the heavier duty shocks. Just he's just going to have regular springs, not the super stock springs.
Mm.
Yeah, busy year. Yeah, yeah. I wish there was a chance that the Belvedere would make an appearance, but it's not gonna. It'll be so close. It'll be like hard to justify, but
Yeah.
it'll need all the little stuff. I can see it
Yeah.
being painted with the engine and transmission and stuff in place by the time No Name Nationals comes around. But as far as like wiring and doing all the stuff to make it run, it's just not going to happen. Yeah, C body length is what Black GTX was saying. So I'm pretty sure that's what those shocks are. Is basically C body shocks. I know when I first did one of my videos putting super stock springs in the '68 Satellite, the guys in the forums were saying use Ram Charger shocks. So I got a set for a Ram Charger and put them in there.
The C-body super stock glass.
Yeah, yeah. There's that guy in that video when we went to Rock Falls that had that '69 Fury. It was dark green. It was called Fast and Furious. It's got a stock stroke 440. I think he sprays it, and it ran the same times as the Jack Pine, and that's a great big old C body. And
Yeah.
I fell in love with the '69 Furies two doors. If I could find a really nice clean '69 Fury two door for a daily driver, oh man, that would be amazing. Chris sent
Oh
me
yeah.
a link to one. Chris Testa sent me a link to one, and it's dark green. It's got some rust, but it's got a tunnel ram.
There you go.
So could you imagine your daily driver's a '69 Fury with a tunnel ram? That'd be so cool.
That would be something.
Yeah. One of the favorite cars I videoed for my Mopars in the Park video was kind of a burnt orange Fury, and it was a two door, and it was a hard top. And when you looked at the interior, I mean, oh my god, it was like two overstuffed luxury couches with like modern stitching, and then the dash. It's like an apartment, and you just want to spend your whole day inside of it. You know.
Yeah, they're nice, especially when they got a lot of options like that Monaco we have.
Oh yeah, that would be if that car was savable. That would be.
Yeah. Factory 440 car. Not even just 440, it's an HP 440 and everything.
Mhm.
It's 67, so it's like arguably the best 440 they ever made.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I got to figure out a bunch of tunnel ram stuff now. Now that the tunnel ram is probably going on Super B, but
Mm.
for now, I'm rebuilding this. Yeah, I can't really see that, but rebuilding uh, Demon for the Super B.
That's not the.
It might run this for a little bit.
I thought you were talking about the 830 for the Super B.
Well, I put the 830 on there. I might run that temporarily. This is okay. Well, the 830 will probably be on for now, but if it stays with the single plane intake for any period of time where I actually can do some tuning and testing on it,
Mm.
it'll be getting this.
Yeah.
Because that 830 is a good carb, but this is even a little bit better. It's got adjustable air bleeds and a couple other little things going for it that just make it a little better.
Yeah, we got my carburetor back. It's been completely sonic cleaned. All the little passages all cleaned out and everything. Because what we were thinking is that 3-gallon metal tank that was off of a Briggs and Stratton. It was in the
Yeah.
trunk of the Jack Pine. Back in the day, it was worked really good, but all the years of sitting, rust was building up in there. That's why when Jeff took the carburetor apart in that one video, there was so much kind of like fine rust on the inside of the bowls. And we cleaned that carburetor and we cleaned it, and then it chewed up the valve that we put in it. When we wound up taking it apart the time before we switched it to Jeff's quick fuel. So it got a complete deep clean. So I'll be glad to have that carburetor back on there. But the irony is, I ran that carburetor with two power valves in it, and the way it was before Jeff tore it apart, I ran that the year before at No Name Nationals, and that year the car ran okay. Um, but then sitting at coup de dans, and then like sitting at home for so long, it finally built up enough to where it just was causing me lots of grief. Hey, later, Blake. Thanks for
Yeah.
stopping.
Yep. See you later.
But yeah, I definitely want to get like.
Yeah, it'll be.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it'll definitely be fun to, get to the No Name Nationals and, see everybody again.
Mm.
And yeah.
Yeah. And I'm 99.9% sure, the Jack Pine will be back there. I'm just hoping it might be a little bit faster this year. Try a couple things here and there, just and then work on my skill. So maybe I'll actually make it more than the first round at in the bracket race.
You just gotta stay
I
away from
know
Mongrel.
he's just taken me out twice, but then Blake took him out twice, so it's kind of a conundrum there.
Yeah. Let's see if history repeats itself for a third
You know,
time.
Dakota, I've heard that they actually start pretty darn good because the runners are so long that the gas has time to kind of aerosolize on the way down and stuff. So, uh, I've heard that they actually, if they're tuned right, they start pretty darn easy.
Hmm.
I don't know about cold blooded, but
Well, when I do the 440 tunnel ram swap, I'll let you know.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to look at the whole gauge situation. I'll probably have different, I'll have all my gauges in there, but probably underneath the dash or something, I'll have a external, oil pressure gauge, temperature gauge, and just something a little bit more reliable between
mm,
there. You don't have any idea what it actually is.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just hoping my gas gauge works.
I definitely want a shift light in next year. It'd be nice to have the two-step setup so I could try the trans brake, but I kind of do like foot braking, and I think I want to figure that out before I think about using the trans brake. Um, like
Yeah.
I said, I'd always want the Belvedere to be more of the gizmo type car, whereas um, the Jack Pine kind of keep it more true to its roots. Which it would make sense then to swap
Yeah.
the old transmission of the Jack Pine back into it and take the Transbrake transmission and put in the Belvedere, but that'd be a lot of work.
Yeah. 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 Swap. Not the worst thing, but it's not a lot of fun either.
Yeah, I mean, if we get to the point where the Jack Pine's engine needs to come out to be refreshened, that'd be a good idea to think about doing it then. But
Yeah.
so I'm hoping I get a good.
You don't want to add too much power to that.
So Dakota, back in the day when I had my '76 Trans Am, I always laughed because it's hard to tell younger people these days about like when you're driving your older cars with the gauges and stuff in them, your gas gauge moved while you're driving the car. Modern cars, you don't notice it as much, but when you have a Trans Am with a four barrel and you're cruising around, you'll notice that your gas gauge just kind of moves right along with the other gauges at a steady pace.
Temperature gauge goes up.
I used to keep change in my ashtray in my Trans Am, and I always called it my emergency gas fund because you'd always have like almost $2 to $3 worth of change, in your ashtray. You could buy 2 gallons, 3 gallons of gas, but nowadays you're not even getting enough gas to be able to go anywhere. You won't even get 1 gallon of gas. Uh,
Half a gallon.
mm, yeah,
But yeah, and then I'll be working on the Coronet in the spring a little bit too,
yeah,
and do some stuff to that.
yeah. He got like 10 to 11 miles per gallon on the way to No Name Nationals.
Not the
Stop it, Chris. No, I didn't. Uh, there's a 73. There's a 73 Trans Am clone on Marketplace. I sent Chris a link to it, and he knows that's like my all-time favorite is the 71 to 73 Firebirds with the Endura front end. Those are my favorites. And there's a nice red one. It's been
Yeah.
it's been coming down on price, but and there's no way I can swing that one. I like Dakota's gear too. The 74, 75s. They still had like bumpers and stuff, but they were pretty nice. 76, like the one I
Oh yeah.
had. I just didn't like the form molded front bumper and the round headlights. It looked too fat in the front, and then the round headlights, I don't know. But then when 78 came out, 78 was awesome. 77 and 78.
These square headlights, and I was like, yeah, I like the earlier ones better than those.
Yeah, Dakota, I got one of those things. You call them, what are they called? A wife? And she's a smart lady, and she protects me from myself. So, yeah, 74, 75s. They look good too. Yeah, 74, 75, like Super Duty.
Yeah.
That would be the shit. You know, those were some of the last muscle cars to still hang around that were pretty fast. And when I worked at Hy-Vee
Oh
in
yeah.
high school, one of the guys, his brother had a red 75 or 74 Trans Am 455 Super Duty, and it was a manual transmission, and it was a beast.
Yeah. It's funny. I was just watching Smoking the Bandit, like, I don't know, sometime last week or something. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure the cars were plenty quick, but I think it was funny that they kind of make the Trans Am out to be this mean, kind of fast car. And then I was thinking to myself, I was like, wait, what was it again? That was the fastest production vehicle in '78, the Little Red
Yeah.
Express.
Well, they even admit that I think they even had like nitrous on it for the burnout scenes and stuff, and
Yeah. I just think it's funny looking back at it. It's like, everybody kind of makes it out to be this great thing. And don't get me wrong, I love Trans Ams too.
Mhm.
But, and then you start looking at the actual numbers and it's like, yeah, it's probably fun, but that
The
wasn't really
YouTuber. I'll
fast.
put a comment up that links to his channel, but he does all the different cars from movies. He's done
Oh,
like
yeah.
the car, like the anyway. He does all the cars from the movies, and he does a breakdown, and he tells you about like the hero cars and how many of the like other cars that they had, and if they're still around, if they got trashed, what they actually had for engines and everything in them. Rick from uh, Jerry Racing is here. Hey, Rick, I don't know if you're here early enough, but
All right.
we were talking about my friend Cullen was talking about renting Oak Grove drag strip up here. It's a pretty reasonable price if we got some guys together, and if you and Ricky ever wanted to make the trip up and to Minnesota to that track. Otherwise, me and Jeff plan on going down to your guys' home track to do some racing with you guys. Jeff likes that track because it's concrete, and he says it's a pretty good track. And Rock Falls, I don't know, that's might be a little bit closer for you guys, but I'm planning on hitting those three tracks: your track, Rock Falls, and Grove Creek. But I know Grove Creek can be rented for a pretty reasonable price. So if we got some guys and then kind of made a weekend of it, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I downloaded the track schedule for Rock Falls already, and going to be looking up. Yeah, you guys are set up to travel. The only thing I was thinking is if we rented it for one day, that's enough of a trip for you guys. Where it'd be like, where would you sleep? And I don't know like if you could camp overnight and leave in the morning. Does the 24 hours start like at noon and end at noon the next day? That way you could, after hanging out and running your cars, you could sleep and then go home.
You should see what run.
Yeah, yeah. I don't.
That wasn't actually a
I
genetic
saw The
look.
Vanishing Point that had Viggo Mortensen in it, which was like a remake.
Kind of funny because originally, they blew up the car
Mhm.
at the end. Well, the further reasoning behind that was because those, I think they had three of them, if I remember right. 70 Challengers from Dodge.
Mhm.
they rented them. They didn't even buy them for the movie. They just rented them. So they're like, oh well, we can't blow it up. We got to give it back.
And then Rick, I definitely got to get a trailer, and I know it doesn't sound smart with a little 1500 truck, but hey, Jeff's in here. Um,
Hey,
go
Jeff.
down and camp. Hey, Jeff. Track and travel with Rick is Rick from Rick and Ricky on Jerry Racing. They go to that tri-state racetrack all the time. Yeah, remakes. They're usually a little bit less than the previous. I don't know if I've ever seen a remake that was better than the original.
They're talking about making a remake of Yard.
Mm. Jeff's been out in the cold, working. Lucky guy.
Yeah, it's cold, but it's weird because in like a week it's gonna flip a switch and it's gonna be, mid upper 30s again, and it's gonna, huh, that'll be
Yeah,
nice.
it'll be like a heat wave, and but of course it's going to get warm. What, Saturday, and it's my weekend to go back to work, so I go back to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So when it finally warms
Yeah,
up again, I won't have any time off. Yeah,
yeah,
but um, something about LS in a WS6 Trans Am.
yeah. Dakota said that he almost beat it, and with a little suspension work, he think he would have got.
Hey, Speed Demon. Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing about like when I check out like Tony's or Buck's live streams. There's like a different crowd that kind of hangs out in there too.
Yeah, like I know most of the people that are floating through here, but there's a few of them that is like, huh, I don't know that guy.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny too. Like they talk about live streams, how like you kind of change over a period of time. People kind of come in and go.
Yeah, there's 15 in here.
Sad part is I've talked about most of the stuff that I was thinking about. kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
What was the other things we were trying to cover? I don't remember.
We were talking about Ryan's car and getting it ready, and it's pretty close. So get him some track time and all the different tracks around here, and then like, trying to set up sort of a test day like at Grove Creek. But I guess in the comments Dakota's talking about his Trans Am and the build that he's building.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of a Pontiac guy. I would like to get back into one of those. I'd like to have a big one of the bigger full body Pontiacs. And then Tessa's calling you out.
Race, we can race.
And Jeff's saying we're going to stop with the test days and start going to get that money.
Yeah, Chris, do you wanna line up against Super B versus Chevelle? That's fine by me.
So we call out
You got the nicer car.
official. It's going down, Ryan. You got to go now. We got to get some punk out money in the game.
Ah,
Mm, yeah.
because I've seen figures of Super Bs anywhere from like 34 and change all the way up to 36 and change,
Yeah.
and
Well, the tracks have
I have no idea.
scales, so once you go to the track, all the gas will be out of it. You'll know.
Yeah,
And who knows, Rick and
or if
be someplace where they'll have their scales with them. And then
yeah, I
Jeff,
was just thinking that too. I was about to say if we cross paths with
yeah.
him.
Well, Rick just texted me a copy of the his tracks scheduled, Jeff. So I've got their track schedule down at Tri City or Tri State. I always forget, is it Tri State or Tri City? Yeah, are you in your shop, Ryan, or
No, I'm in my basement.
racing for pinks? It's still a little bit.
I was trying to figure out what time I'm gonna have a Super B.
Yeah. Can you imagine Chris's ego if he beats a
I'm
Mopar?
like, oh boy.
But Chris's Chevelle has Baldwin motion valve covers, so that's 75 horsepower. Chris's
75.
motion valve covers. That motion was kind of like one of those, like it was a Chevy kind of um, high performance dealership type thing. Baldwin motion. Mm. It was like Mr. Norms, but they were the Chevy guys. Yeah, Black GTX is at least worth a tenth. So you better watch out, Ryan.
Yeah.
Like Yenko, but better.
Yeah.
You don't see so many Baldwin Motion clones.
Yeah, I'm not real
Again,
familiar with those.
I think almost every Nova I've seen in the last few years at the car shows have been Yenkos. It's kind of like the General Lee of the Chevy world.
Yeah.
I've got one of those fly eye air cleaners. It came on the jack pine. And the irony is, when I was at No
Oh
Name
yeah.
Nationals, I had my hood off my car and it backfired and caught the carb on fire. So if I would have had that on there,
Yeah, I think I remember that.
oh wow, Rick also sent the Cedar Falls one. I'd looked at the Cedar Falls one. Oh no, I was thinking Rock Falls. Yeah, I've looked at the Rock Falls one, and I think I printed that out at work. And then Jeff, is Cedar Falls the one that you said, or no? What's it starts with an H? Humboldt.
Yeah, Humboldt
There's
is in
a
Iowa.
track there, isn't there? Jeff said there's one that's kind of like within a quick, zip down for. It's kind of a smaller track. Both Dakota and Chris want to know if I want to sell that fly eye air cleaner. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's worth about $1,000. Do I hear 1,001? Yeah, I'd sell it. I don't plan on using it. I was just gonna use the wall art. You know, I got some stuff that
I don't know what
I kicked my wife out of my garage. I want to hang some things. I'm gonna hang that six
I don't
pack,
know what
that 70 Super B grill, and that scoop probably, and then I was gonna hang that fly eye air cleaner on there. 1,000.
yeah.
Well, that was just the first. I'm just throwing a number out there. I'm making an offer you think's reasonable. The problem is I'm lousy at shipping stuff.
I'm good at shipping stuff.
Yeah, Ryan is. I should take that to the swap meet this year and have as one of my big ticket items.
Yeah.
You know, so
I gotta figure.
Jeff, give me a. I'll probably wind up giving it to Jeff anyway because I'm gonna owe him money. So we'll just take $1 off what Jeff owes me, or what I owe Jeff. I mean,
$45. That's a big jump there, Dakota.
oof! Wow, Dakota really wants it. What are you gonna put a high rise on your Trans Am and have that fly eye sticking through the hood instead of a shaker?
Yeah, yeah, there you go. That'd look like something.
Yeah. I always thought a single carb sticking through the hood looked kind of sad. Looks kind of lonely, you know.
Yeah, that's funny.
Dakota's bidding against himself. Come on, Chris.
I was just about to say, why does he keep upping the price?
I don't see Chris in there. This must be too steep for him. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
good, Derek. Yeah, I made it through the holidays. It's my time off here. Heard you guys have been getting a lot of snow there in South Dakota. Yeah,
I'll give you one of your 50s back for it.
yeah, they are fire starter. Now I always like the looks of them. I would have bought one back when I was a kid, like in the late '70s, early '80s. I definitely would have got one and put on a car because you didn't know about them being fire starters. Minus 45. Yeah.
Yeah, minus. Yeah, I gotta figure out what air cleaners I want to do on the tunnel ram.
Mhm. But I gotta definitely introduce Chris to my nephew Derek there because he'd be able to speak Chevy to him.
Yeah.
So Chris, I mean, he's basically my brother-in-law. My sister's boyfriend, Mitch, has a '69 Firebird in his garage that he'd like to fix up someday. So he's got a Chevy and a Pontiac. So Derek's been exposed to Chevy and Pontiacs. Derek's already selling me out, going to Chris's side of the fence.
Hey, Chris is a
Yeah.
cool guy.
Well, like I said, we were joking about trading the Jack Pine for the Firebird when he came to No Name Nationals. I was about ready to do it. Yeah, that would be scary. Seeing flames coming out from under your cowl hood, especially if it was a fiberglass hood, you know. But those were probably steel back then. Yeah. Yeah, Jeff got me a Bigfoot driver's license when he was at Area 51. So now I'm legit. I got Bigfoot
That's
license
cool.
plates that are replicas from the TV show Supernatural, and now I've got that driver's license too. So I'll have to have those on display when I take my cars to the shows.
That would be cool.
Derek, I've sent Chris pictures of your third gen Camaro, and he likes it with the blue with the cowl hood and he really likes the Kragers. So I've talked to Chris about your Camaro, Derek. I got to get out that way, and then we could kind of like do like a walk around video of it and kind of get a better idea of all the stuff that we'd have to do to the car. Yeah. I even got a picture, Derek, I found in my phone of when we were using Mitch's Jeep to tow it home when it blew up. Yeah, Derek was in my video when we went to Brainerd. Uh, Me and Cullen took the Jack Pine for the first time to a racetrack. He didn't get to make a pass in it then, though. I was even really scared of the car back then, too.
I think Dakota's bidding against
Yeah.
himself again.
I'm hoping by the end of the live stream it'll be like $100. Uh,
Yeah.
Ryan, entertain him for a second.
All right. I think he's gonna go get that air cleaner. 60. Starting to really get that thing to have some value now. 65. Jeez.
Check it out.
Oh, test is at 100.
It's even got the that fire element in it. Extra flammable.
Yeah, yeah.
Aged appropriately to catch fire as soon as the nearest spark gets close to it.
That's a cool one.
Oh, I don't have 700 horsepower. Speed Demon. The engine that made over 720 horsepower, that engine went as a trade for the Jack Pine. I basically traded my drivetrain and that beat up 70 Cornet for the Jack Pine, which at the time wasn't running, but it just lost oil pressure, and we just put new bearings and stuff in it. That the Jack Pine's engine made like 600. So it was like 600 and like 3 horsepower and like 619 torque. And by the calculator, it looks like it's putting about 500 to the rear wheels. But if we get the car tuned up, that might, show that it's putting a little bit more than that. But oh, that's not the Mr. Gaskets fly eye. Is it the other Mr. Gasket one?
No, that one. That's one of the better ones.
The Mr. Gasket one?
No, I think yours is one of the better ones. Yours is the triangle one. I think what they were talking about was just the circle one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
I think that's what they were talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a later one. Okay. Darn it, I thought I was going to get rich there for a minute.
I think on the Jack Pine.
The Jack Pine weighs 4,000 pounds. Yeah, the circle ones look like the import turbo ones, where they put them on like all the little Weber carbs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always liked these. Like I said, I would have bought one of these back in high school. You know.
I've got one of those at the Edelbrock branded one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've actually got a Velocity stack too. I bought one thinking that it might fit under the hood of the Jack Pine. So when I use the air box and then put the Velocity stack in there, it might help. But it was too tall for the scoop. But now I'll just buy another one so that like that's another option when I take the Belvedere to the track. I can put two Velocity stacks on top of the blower. I think that'd look pretty cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Chris, the '80s, man, that was the time. Yeah, like Jeff said, we've never really got a chance. We were just struggling to get a carburetor that would work on the car, and we've never even checked the timing since it's been on the dyno. So the Jackline's not had any actual tuning on it, just trying to put out fires to uh, just to get it to the track. So that's what the goal is this year is, like get that new carb on there. Well, the old car refurbished, get that on there, get a couple of test passes. And I've got new spark plugs I've never put in it. So it's still the spark plugs from the dyno too. So make a pass and then we'll be able to kind of look at the plugs and kind of start from scratch. Check out where it's at on timing and then play around with it a little bit. Yeah, Jeff was back to the vanishing point and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black GTX. Guys put those on cars after they threw away the factory air cleaner, which is now bucks, depending on the air cleaner. I
Oh
had
yeah.
plenty of cars where I did the flip too, where you flip the lid. You know, I did that on my
Yeah.
'73 Firebird. I did it on my Chevelle, my '70 Chevelle. You could tell a difference.
I was just about to say, I wonder if anybody's actually ever tested it to see if it actually made a difference.
I think it did, but I mean, the Firebird had the Quadrajet on it too, and man, I just love the sound of when you had a Quadrajet when it kicks open. You know,
Yeah, when I got that Cornet to open up the secondaries with that Edelbrock, it sounded a lot like that.
Mm. Yeah, Derek, if he built one for a turbo, the only difference would be the price of making sure that it was ready for boost. So he wants like $3,500 for that 350. Um, the price would be whatever the price of the components that you needed to change would be different than the ones that he uses in the 350. So I don't know if it's just a matter of, um, I think you'd want forged pistons versus the hyper-eutectic or whatever. And then, that I think that'd be the biggest cost would be the price of the pistons versus what he's got sitting there on the floor.
Hmm.
Yep, Rick still got the lid flipped on his '70 GNC Quadrajet.
Yeah, I can't flip the lid on the Cornet. It's not that kind of air cleaner because the whole top is one piece. So if I flipped it upside down, it would look like it has a salad bowl on top of it.
Chris would have to answer this, but Dakota's talking about the shaker scoop on the Trans Ams. I always took the plate off of the back of mine, because I figured it was like a cowl scoop then. But I want to say, was there a year, Chris, where they actually flipped like the blades of them? I always wanted to try to do that, where the back of the shaker scoop on the Trans Am, where when you hit the gas, it would flip open like a butterfly. I don't know if it was something I just dreamed of or if it was actually available. Yeah, I think a 350 swap, and then buy the stuff for the turbo later, Derek. 70 to 73, they actually did have the flipper on the Speed Demon's talking about polishing the surface of the hypereutectic piston.
Hmm.
I know Chris Bird's song does a lot with like having coating put on like the top of his pistons and different weird stuff that actually does help, especially like if you're in a hot place like Vegas. But I don't know if cost effectively, if you're building an engine, if it's worth taking it in and get those like race coatings on the pistons and stuff. Yeah, they
Just
used to make
ceramic coat the whole engine.
yeah, the whole engine. Just dip the whole engine in ceramic coat.
We're gonna ceramic coat the valves, the pistons, the head, the intake, the.
So Dakota, if you want to be the coolest kid with a Trans Am, you would get a formula hood off of a 71 to a 75 where it's kind of raised up and they're round, and you would make those scoops work, and then you would cut a hole in the middle and put the Trans Am scoop, so you got 3 hood scoops, and make that hood scoop have the butterfly that opens up with your accelerating, and then you'd get so much air in that engine, it'd basically be like a turbo.
I don't know about that, but it's worth a shot.
And back when I had a little bit of ricer in me when I was younger too, I thought it'd be cool to put a light inside the scoop, like a red light or something of a Trans Am.
Yeah.
Jeff was telling me that if I was going to paint the inner fenders of my Belvedere with that boat metallic, like I was talking about, I might as well put neon lights underneath it.
Yeah. Underglow.
If I'm gonna go full ricer, I should go full ricer. Put an aftermarket, like one of those little wing things, like they put on Honda Civics on the back of the Belvedere, neon
Yeah.
lights underneath it.
Put
Yeah,
underglow underneath the rockers and around the wheels.
yeah. Back in high school, a buddy of mine, Jeff Murray, had a beautiful brown, like 74 or 5 Monte Carlo, and it had a white vinyl top and it had white interior, and it was the cleanest car of all of the kids in high school. And he painted the underneath of the car white, and then he put red lights on the back on the rear axle, and he had Kragers on it with wide tires in the back and like skinnies in the front. And so he was one of the first guys to ever do the lighting under a car back before they made lighting for underneath a car. And we were all jealous. It was cool. You've got a Formula Hood, Dakota?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Plus, going on a date in a Monte Carlo had to be a lot more fun than going on a date in a Trans Am.
I don't know. I'd take the Trans Am.
Well, when you're on a date, Trans Am has its downside. Yeah. Yeah, trailer lights. That's probably what they were, Chris.
Yeah,
Back
I
in the,
believe it.
on my Trans Am, I'll admit this too, because I was a bit cocky when I was in high school. They had those frames around the rear license plate, and you could get someone to make whatever you want. Say like they would engrave it. You could have whatever color you wanted, and then they would engrave something in there, and it would be like white. I got black, and it was engraved in white letters, and it said, "Expect no mercy." And that was the slowest car I ever owned. It was a 76 400 with like 75 horsepower.
Yeah.
But I there was a one of the it had an 8-track player on the console that still played for the center speaker in the dash. And I went to a pawn shop because even back then 8 tracks were outdated. So I got a bunch of grabbed whatever kind of cool 8 tracks I could find. So I got like a Nazareth. That was the name of one of their albums. Was Expect No Mercy, and I
Yeah.
just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So I had to put on my car. Yeah, yeah, and I know like you're kind of limited to what intake you could put on the Trans Am if you wanted to keep the shaker hood.
Yeah.
Had to go to
Kind
San
of
Jose.
um, limited on intake height for guys that are running the air grabber setups, like
Mhm.
what should be on the Super Bee,
Yeah,
because the air cleaner's got to butt up to the underside of the hood box,
I
which
would think that
you
street
got to have just the right height.
that Street Dominator would probably work. The Holly one, like
Yeah.
I put on my 440, that's kind of a lower profile single plane.
A torquer might work. I don't know.
Yeah. There are people that said the Torquers were great, and then there are people that say they sucked. So I guess it kind of depended on your competition. I think if you just threw one on a stock engine, it might suck, you know.
Eh, I hear good things about torquers, but for some reason, and I don't know why, some reason that's one of the only intakes that Mopar said, yeah, don't use that one.
Mm. Well, here we got
I
an
don't know
answer.
why. They actually um, had a release on there saying, hey, all these intakes are great. Not
Mm.
quite so sure about the torquer.
Yeah. Black GTX runs the CH4B on his with his air grabber hood, and that's on that 69 GTX. So there you go, Ryan.
Yeah, CH4B is same height and everything as a stock intake, pretty much. It basically is a stock intake, but with made out of aluminum, and it's maybe another 5-10 horsepower over a stock, but it's a good looking intake. It's low profile.
Mhm.
You're telling me this won't fit under my hood?
That might not butt up against the air grabber.
Yeah, because that's
Black
dual
GTX,
four. I'll have to get one of the Hemi air grabbers.
Black GTX said that the plenum is bigger than the stock, so it does.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I have one.
Rick ran a Torquer on the 340 back in the day, and he said it had some fuel distribution problems. I know there were like two versions of the Torquer.
There's the Torquer and the Torquer 2.
Yeah, so I think maybe they improved
I,
it.
yeah, I'm an advocate for the Torquer. Well, that's the thing. From everything I've heard, it actually went the other way.
Mm,
To me, everything I've ever heard, and I'm talking about big block Torquers.
yeah,
Um, Torquers were amazing intakes. They
uh,
did a bunch of A/B testing on
Ex-
different intakes, and the Torquer was like 2 or 3 numbers behind the M1.
yeah, yeah. I know they say the
The
M1
Torquer,
you put a turtle in it, like in the plenum there. um, to kind of help break up the air and get it to go down, and the fuel to get it to go down better and stuff. But
Yeah. Torquer 2 I don't like.
yeah,
The Torquer 2 is, I don't know, it's just different. It's like they tried to cross a Street Dominator with a Torquer 1. Instead of having the plenums very straight and direct,
mm,
they have them curved more.
mm,
So it's less of a direct travel.
yeah. There's that really good hot rod magazine shootout where they did it with a. I think they did one with a 440 and one with a 383. But I know for sure I used to
Yeah.
the one about the 383, and that's why I like knew that like the Street Dominator that like for the low deck was just as good as the Performer RPM, which is the intake most people want. Just it actually pulled a little higher in the RPM because it was a single plane as opposed to a dual plane. So they were basically you got the same torque with the Street Dominator. Um,
Yeah.
so I like the Street Dominator intakes.
I like them. I got, trying to remember which one I have. If I have a 383 or a 441.
We
I
bought
think
one
it's
for me.
441.
Did you sell that one or
Okay.
the one you bought for me was
Yeah.
for
No, I got it. I got it.
yeah, that one's for a low deck. Because I had
Oh,
two,
is it okay?
and then I had the 441 that I got from Joe that I'm using on my 440.
Oh, yep, yep, yep. Yep, haven't done anything with that one yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will, though. I got a few 383s around.
Yeah.
I got a lot of 383 intakes. I didn't even realize. I was just thinking.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think those will be more valuable coming up too, now that you can stroke those as well, you know.
Yeah.
I think 440s have always been, getting a little bit harder to get, and then 400s are super popular, and then I think a guy with 383, can do a lot more with them now than they could back in the day.
Yeah, now that they make the stroker pistons for them.
Dakota wants a 68 to 70 Mopar B, but well, you picked the most expensive years.
Yeah, yeah.
Ryan's got a few laying around.
Yeah. Just a couple.
Jeff said there's a 340 Torment intake that's really good.
I think he meant to put Torquer and then it auto-corrected.
Yeah, autocorrect got him.
I think so.
Yeah, I think like Ricky said, that's what he ran on a 340.
Yep, there it is. Love spell check.
Yeah, I hate it because it thinks it's smarter than you sometimes and puts stuff down. One time I was texting
Yeah.
my nephew Derek and I was doing the voice text on my truck, and it was kind of a paragraph that I was sending, and it got it so wrong that I sent it anyway because it was really funny and better than anything I had to say to begin with.
Did I master the inline? Oh, the 4-speed. I've driven it a few times. I don't have any issue with it. It's still coming out, but
Mhm.
I don't have any issue driving it.
You should be able to get a
But I
good
mean, I
pin.
haven't driven it. What's that?
There's a lot of guys that'll want that.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. It's a good setup. It's got everything there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna put the H pattern back in it.
Yeah. I impressed Chris with my 4-speed shifting skills in his Firebird at No Name.
Yeah. Oh,
Back when
E-bodies? Yeah,
my
I got all
GTO,
kinds of them.
the GTO is my daily driver. So I mean, like when you drive a car all the time and you're like in tune with it and you know how it shifts and everything, it's just nothing better, you know.
Chris, it's a Hurst Ramrod.
Yeah, Rick. Yeah, it's the same. You know, we had at work they tried these things, and I think up on the floors they still have them, but they have these things called Voicera, and you would just hit it, you know, like while you're in a room, and you'd say, "I need," you know, you first you'd say the name of the person, and then you would tell them like what room you're in or whatever, so that they could come and help you and stuff. And you know, people with foreign names or names that are like different, you would pronounce it and it would just keep saying, "Did you mean, did you say, did this?" Or it would pronounce it in an even worse way than you pronounced it, and to the point where it's borderline offensive.
Yeah.
So in the ER, we switched to iPhones, and that's kind of what we use on regular days. So that's 2 axes in here, no lift shift.
Hey,
Wins.
Jeff.
Yeah, my dad had me with my GTO. I was pretty good. You know, I could tell when it was like, I guess they call it rev matching. You know, I could tell right when I wanted to pull it in gear and almost not even do it. Hey Jeff, 2 axes building a dragster, and he wants to race your dragster.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeff, I really love your dragster, man. That's going to be badass. Such a nostalgic piece. So I'm talking to Jeff about Jeff.
I was about to say a little Jeff on Jeff.
Yeah. So Jeff from Two Hacks, do you think that'll be making an appearance at No Name, or is Rowdy coming back? The dragster you're building, Jeff, that one kind of scares me. Something about sitting with your nuts right on a rear differential.
Yeah.
Those front engine dragsters are. Yeah. Yeah. A couple of different generations between the different types of dragsters, though.
He needs to
Whoa, wow,
haul
he's
the
taking.
dragster with the Thunderbird.
Yeah. Oh, sure. You're going to take 2 cars. It's like you're trying to make other guys want to bring 2 cars. Yeah, like I said, man, sitting there with that right there. If anything went wrong, it would be like, whoops.
Yeah.
Dakota. Hey, Terry Parker. How you doing, man? Wear a cup. Hey, muscle car, Mike.
I don't think the cup is gonna stop it.
Sweet. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I was gonna when I was at Gary's last time, Jeff. I was gonna take a picture of his old dragster. It's sitting there right outside his shop, and it's on like some sawhorses, and it's just the frame. Nothing's hardly left of it. You'll walk by it without even knowing what it is. But when I'm in his shop, I'll take a picture of his a picture of the picture that he has of his old dragster. Gary told me a story about the one of the last times that he drove it. He was at a track, and everyone always laughed because like there was like a little pond at the end of the track. Past, you'd go off the road and you hit the sand, and then past that was like this little pond, and everyone joked about winding up in the pond. And Gary said shit went south, and he was in his dragster, and he went through the sand, and he wound up upside down in his dragster in the pond underwater. And all he could think is, well, here I am. Because everyone always talked about it. Yeah. So there he was, it strapped in his dragster underwater. And he said he just like ritual, he just went and took his straps off and was able to get out. But yeah. Yeah. Jeff's talking about when he did his wheelie on his dragster for 200 feet.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mopar Jeff, if you follow Two Hacks, he's building a nostalgic front engine dragster, and they're going to do like a Hillborn fuel injection and stuff on it. And then Jeff from Two Hacks, Mopar Jeff's pretty familiar with mechanical fuel injection, so that's what he runs on both his dragster and his duster. Yeah, I love watching like Brian Loans does his history videos where he talks about like the front engine dragsters and stuff with like the blown 392 Hemis and stuff in them. Gary's got a 392 Hemi that's all built with dual quads. It would be cool to put in some sort of a street rod. It made 450 horsepower, I think it was,
Hmm.
but it's all done. A guy was actually going to put in a Dart because the smaller early Hemis fit really nice inside of a Dart. Yeah, Dakota,
Yes.
we do. We keep them inside.
I just
We're not heathens.
yeah.
See, Dakota, when you get older, you'll have things like a garage.
Yeah.
It kind of comes. It kind of comes with the wife. He was giving me shit earlier about being afraid of my wife. I tease, but she's cute, so I let her get by with a lot. And I owe her for everything that I have. Basically, she's the practical person that keeps me from spending everything I have on cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff's got quite the setup. Well, Ryan's got the setup now too. Man, your guys' shop. I was over there earlier today, and that's going to be sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, someone was betting that their car would be faster off the line, and Jeff's going to take the bet.
Yeah, Jeff will race you for 60 foot.
No, it was some guy. I don't know if I've seen him in here before. Functional Histories.
Sounds familiar. I don't know it
He
though.
said I go faster than anyone's in here off the line anyway. And then Jeff said he'd take that bet. So Oh, his are die
Oh.
cast. Yeah. Well, the other thing is you have like space in your yard and your property to be able to store stuff. I don't even have that. I do, but I'm already the hillbilly in the cul-de-sac, so my wife would be pretty embarrassed. She would probably be the one to call the city on me. Turn
Yeah,
me in.
yeah.
Although I've corrupted her. I got her Acura. I tinted all the windows on that, and then when she got her Forerunner, I got it decked out with the mud tires and the tinted windows and the TRD roof rack. So she's pretty happy. She's slowly turning into a car girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff. 0.9888, 60 foot. That's a little faster than my 1.56 at No Name Nationals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, now I know functional history.
Oh,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
the models of NSB's car, and yeah, dude. Hey, thanks for popping in here. That would be cool.
Didn't he do
He just did some
he
of the
did a little
Duster, the twisted, twisted.
Twisted Mopars?
Yeah, he just did one of his car too.
Didn't he
No, I'd
do
be
the
honored.
Barely Cuda and Jezebel?
That would be like an honor to have you do that. And I would definitely want the guys that originally built the car to be able to see that too.
I think he did the Barely Cuda and Jezebel
And he's
also.
something for Unity Motorsports, I think. So maybe he's doing
Yeah,
Casper too.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be really sweet. I'd be honored.
That
Yeah.
that would that would be awesome.
But Jeff from Two Hacks, man, he's got a good eye. I think a lot of the same lines as him. What he did to that Thunderbird, it's like I I liked every decision he made. Yeah. Hopefully, get everything ironed out on Rowdy because, like you said, it's got a lot of potential, and I was looking forward to racing you, and it was, and like I said, like, and getting to race Brad was an honor too. Just being able to kind of run with people, and I know Brad really pushed me. Um, I really like would if he was to bring Beat Beat back, I'd like to race again, and yeah, I'm hoping. I always want people to be as fast or faster than me if I'm going to race them. Um, I really love Brewer's performance because we were neck and neck. Brad's technically like a tenth faster than me, but we're neck and neck. Me and T's Good Time Garage were neck and neck. Those were the races, man. Um, some about sitting right next to the guy waving as you're going down the track. That's cool.
Yeah, going door to door.
Unlike Jeff, who likes to pick on guys. Mopar Jeff. uh, yeah, I know that. Yeah, that dragster you're building, Jeff, at 2X is going to be badass, and it's definitely going to be period correct looking, just from your taste. Yeah, Jeff beat on to me with his wife's duster. It was sad. Oh, sure, you got the pros in your corner. But that's awesome because that car is gonna be. You're gonna have to put a cage in it then. That's the only sad part. Yeah, I'd say John would be one of the guys that has been around racing long enough. He's going to know like what issues you were having with launching that car.
Yeah.
I think Jeff's dragster is a Power Glide too. Mopar Jeff 604s. If I got that right. Yeah. I'm just going back. Some about an intake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, but we're going to get to see some of Jeff's toys this year when Mopar Jeff 604s when we go out this year. I've been wanting to see that gray duster go down the track since he showed me the picture of it riding the rear bumper.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen any of Jeff's stuff.
No, they're pretty nice. The blue duster is going to get a different engine in it though. He's going to tone it down a little bit for his wife. He's going to put a 451 stroker in it, I think, or maybe it'll be a 500, but won't be anything like the one that's in it now.
Yeah.
Because I was even thinking if Gary never got around to getting my blower engine done for me, maybe buying the engine out of the blue duster. But hey, Mohawk 62's in here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, functional histories. I'll do that. I'll try to get a hold of you. And actually, it would be kind of cool. I could send you a picture of what the car looked like when it was first raced. It's a little bit more of a nostalgic look. Terry Barker told his wife just one more car. Is that how you do it? You lay the groundwork. My wife's a pretty good sport. I told her I bought the gray car, and she forgot. And she kept like, "Well, why are you always going over to that guy Jeff's?" I'm like, "To work on the gray car." And then a while back, when I was taking it to Ryan's place to store for a while, I talked about bringing it home, and she's like, "That's your car?" And I'm like, "Yes." So,
Yeah.
but that car is going to live at home when it gets done. That's always going to be there. Jeff from 2X is turning in. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of turning in. It's getting to be that time where day walkers start.
Yeah.
But Jeff from 2X, glad you stopped in, man. I appreciate that. Like I said, looking forward to work on the vintage dragster. And then hopefully we'll get some footage of a modern dragster for you guys this year when Mopar Jeff gets his dragster going. No Name Nationals is going to go big if we can get rail dragsters to start showing up.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
next? A jet car? Then we've hit the big leagues. Uh, and then Rick from Jerry Racing. Yeah, I'll definitely be looking over those schedules that you sent me and trying to figure out a time to make those work.
yeah.
Dakota, dude, there's a thing called self-deprecating humor where you kind of make fun of yourself. But no, my wife's actually really cool, and as long as I don't dip into household funds and that, she doesn't care what I do. Just that she's also a lady and she doesn't like to scrape windows. So, being a gentleman, I actually let her park her cars in the garage. Yeah. She's actually a pretty good sport. I uh, I would love her to come to the track too. I think I can get her to one of the local tracks. I don't think No Name Nationals would be her thing because that's like a going to be like a 4 day event. Because we like to get there Wednesday early and to spend as much time as we can there. But as far as going to, well, I know you're kidding, Dakota. That's what I like about you and Hunter both. You guys are, well, I know you're being kind of serious too. That's what I love about you and Hunter. You guys talk good smack, and I like it. I like talking shit. So, but if my wife were to ever watch this, I'd want her to know that you know she's not anywhere near as bad as I like to jokingly make her out to be. But I think I can get her to go with me someday to like Rock Falls or Grove Creek. And the way she drives on the freeway, she might actually. And they say women have better reaction times than guys, so I might have to put her behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dakota. That's how like me and Chris and guys our age. That's how we grew up. You the guy. If someone overheard you talking to your best friends, they would swear you were bitter enemies because you didn't give an inch. You know. Dakota, have you seen a picture of my wife? Oh, that's cool, Rick. Yeah. I know they are very supportive and go to the track with you guys. That's going to be really cool. Rick was saying that him and Ricky are going to get their wives to make passes down the track. And that's like Jeff's whole purpose for building that blue car because his wife really wants to race. And I mean, that's so cool that he built the car for her. Plus, his old man wants to, drive a little bit and he's, older now and he just wants a foot brake car. He doesn't want to get behind the wheel of a gizmo car running 8 seconds and a quarter mile. So they'll have a fun car that when we go to the track, they can, make passes and stuff. Because going to the track is cool, but making passes is cooler. What's really cool is when Jeff and his wife bring their Doberman Pinscher to the track. In one of my videos, you can hear the dog, in the background getting excited. It's such a good dog.
Grab a drink quick.
Yeah. But anyway, which of your cars is your dad gonna work on? I mean, you're doing the Super Bee, and what's the first on his list, or is he just more business oriented?
Um, I know he wants to work on the Blue 69.
The one
I
you
don't know what the plan for this year. Huh?
the 4-speed one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool car.
And we want to get the 71 going this year too.
Yeah, but he wants to go all out on that one, doesn't he?
We don't really know the direction yet. It might be getting brought back down to primer and getting repainted actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Back to its original color.
yeah, and that's a pretty blue.
That Winchester gray.
Which one now? Which car? Oh, the orange one,
The 71.
the
The
71.
71 orange car.
I thought you were talking about the blue 69.
Yeah, that probably won't be a this year thing, but we'll probably do a couple little things to it this year, just drive it.
And I like Winchester too. That's a pretty color.
It was a weird car. It was Winchester gray with a white vinyl top and blue interior.
Oh, yeah. Full vinyl or halo?
Full.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going back to that. It'll be Winchester gray and black.
Mm. Yeah.
Probably black interior and maybe the black over the roof stripe. Probably no vinyl.
No vinyl. Yeah. Yeah, it's really going to be cool seeing Adam start on that satellite that he got from you, the 71.
Yeah.
That's another one of my favorite body styles.
Testa's like, yeah, that's cool, gray and blue.
I love black interior, but different colored interior with the right combination is always kind of cool too. Like a blue with the
Yeah.
Chester gray or blue with silver.
I would do the blue in it, but it it would be such a pain to track down all that blue stuff.
Yeah.
And I already have all the black stuff in it
Yeah.
and for it. So
You
it's
know,
like,
legendary if you were going to do that color, and then you're dependent on if they have it or not.
yeah.
That was the cool thing about my satellite is it had that all
But yeah, that's
interior. The interior was so clean inside that car. It was really nice.
yeah. I'm excited to get the brakes fixed on that 71 and even just as is see what it actually, what it actually runs like because it's not stock.
Yeah, it sounds good.
I mean, you've heard it run. It's
Mhm.
healthy.
And but you said there's like a weird clunk in the front or something to that one?
I gotta change the front wheels. The offset of the wheel is too far in,
Okay.
and the wheel weight is hitting the control arm.
Ah, okay. So something fairly easy.
Yeah.
That's good.
I really shouldn't have 15 by 8s on the front of it anyways.
Yeah.
It looks a little ridiculous. It's just what we had at the time.
Yeah. But those cars need big wheels, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
The big wheel openings and stuff. Those the
Even a
fenders on the 70 71 or 71 72s aren't as drastic, but they remind me like of the Javelin. You know how the Javelin had the big humps for the front wheels.
mhm.
The 70 71s kind of have that same, you know, like flared out wheel openings on the front fenders. It looks really cool. Like when you look at the Richard Petty race car where it's slammed down to the ground with the NASCAR wheels all the way around. They look pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool car. I'm excited to see how it really runs because it's just a 383 and it's just stock stroke and all that, but I know it's got a healthy cam, it's got a torquer intake, it's got headers, it's got a 750. I gotta change the carb out on it.
Yeah.
'Cause it's got a 750 vacuum secondary that the accelerator pump sticks sometimes. That doesn't. I don't know. It's been sitting for who knows how long. So
Yeah.
I've got
And
a 750
what's it got for a rear gear?
323s, but I'm thinking that that 373
Hmm.
that I showed you today.
Yeah.
I think that'll go in the back of there. That'll be pretty happy. I think
Yeah.
373s with a 4-speed.
Hmm. Yeah, like Chris
Still
said,
plenty.
it's big money if you go full like aftermarket interior.
Yeah.
Once you start going into that realm, it's
I don't know. It's maybe eventually, but I mean, I've got all the stuff and it's in decent condition now, so I'm just going to use what I got. I'll order new carpet for it. I'll order a 4-speed hump for it, and that'll be fine.
I bought all that SEM stuff. I bought like their cleanser. I bought their prep. I bought the Landau Black. I got like 4 or 5 cans of that, and then I got their low luster clear because when I was going to be doing interior panels on one of my project cars, probably the Cornet, I was gonna have to paint the plastics and stuff. And I had a lot of the plastics and the dash stuff on the Cornet. But the only thing on my car that's plastic is the front kick panels on the Belvedere.
Yeah.
So I got more than enough to do those. And I was reading, and it sounds like it's more of a dye than a paint. But it said it could be applied to metal surfaces if like it's cleaned properly. And only thing I was thinking is it would be kind of nice to use that to paint like the window garnishes. Um,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, but on my car they're metal. But I want to do like hot rod black on my dash, and something that's kind of a matte finish because I don't want it to reflect light. Guys sometimes when they redo their cars, they paint the dash shiny, and then it reflects.
Yeah.
The satellite, it was gloss black where the defroster vents were, and the sun would reflect off of that into the windshield, and when you're driving into the sun. So there's a reason the factory didn't do that. But anyway, I was thinking like I might want to just paint all the garnishes at the same time I paint the dash. So I'll probably have a couple extra cans of that black SEM. You know, I'm only going to probably need half a can, not even that. And,
Yeah. Dakota says big 15-inch. Yeah. You'll get 15 by 10s of some kind, I'm sure.
yeah,
It's got 15 by 8s with 275 60/15 tires, and it just looks small on there.
it swallows them
It just
because the
makes,
openings are so big on those.
yeah,
Well, those drag radials that we fit on there, when I brought them over, they were 15 by 10s with the 295 65R drag radials. I bought those for a 71 satellite originally, my very first project car. And I was always planning on moving the springs inboard on that car. And I was pretty sure I wouldn't even have to mini tub it, just move the springs inboard and those would fit. And I think we pretty much proved it with that orange car of yours, your 71.
yep,
The only rubbed was on the leaf springs.
Yeah, and it was only by about like a quarter inch.
Yeah. So, all you gotta do is move those springs inboard, Ryan, and then you can put those on there. Because those are also almost 30-inch tall too, and that just filled that. I mean, it just totally looked like it belonged on that car.
Yeah, I was going through old pictures yesterday or the day before, and I saw that picture that I took, and I was like, huh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dakota says 295.50 is just not quite it. No.
I
It's too
bought
short.
those wheels and tires almost right away when I bought that 71 Satellite, and I tried them on the Satellite. I tried them on my Roadrunner or my 68 Satellite. I tried them on my. Those wheels got tried on about 5, 6 different cars, and they look
Yeah.
good on all of them. And then I even had them on my Belvedere before we mini tubbed it, and they look good on there. If the trunk would have been better, that car could have had those on there, and it would look really cool, and they would look beefy on there. I'm still glad I mini tubbed it and put the meats on there, but I'd like to. There was that guy at Mopars in the Park that builds custom steel wheels. I'd like to talk to him, maybe about building a set of 15 by 12s with 5.5-inch backspace, and putting some, like, having them paintable with like drag radials on them, and there's a black car with those black wheels on the back, and then the Kragers on the front. That would look cool.
Yeah, it would.
And then just leave the slicks mounted on the Kragers for when I go racing. Yeah, the Trans Ams are better than the Camaros when it comes to fitting rear wheels, because the Firebirds have the arched wheel opening, whereas the Camaros have that flat top on the rear wheel opening. So you could always fit a pretty good sized tire on Trans Ams and Firebirds more than you could a Camaro. I always thought that was one of the reasons I like the Firebird better than the Camaros too.
I can fit whatever I want on the Super Bee.
Yeah, yeah. A 69 Super B, you could put pretty much anything you want.
Yeah.
But then again, it looks so ridiculous when you put too small of a tire on them.
Oh, yeah.
It always looks like the car's tippy toeing. Not first gens. What do you mean by that? The wheel openings, Chris?
He's talking about a Trans Am, about fitment, because,
Yeah,
his Firebird.
it's the opposite on Firebirds in the first gen. I know the second gens is what I was talking about.
Yeah, because I know when he made it to No Name, he said his tires were actually rubbing a little bit.
Yeah.
Chris did.
Yeah, Chris's car is another one where I like the choices that he makes.
Oh, yeah. That car is very comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would drive that
I
all
couldn't,
summer. That would be the only thing I
couldn't
would
get
drive.
over.
I mean, not even. I mean, I would drive it in the rain and stuff too. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Obviously, I didn't drive it, but I couldn't get over how similar it felt to the Roadrunner, the 69.
Yeah. He said, I think it's the rear axle was 1 inch wider on them than a Camaro, because they used the Pontiac rear axle. So you just got to find one of those cheap
Ah.
Camaro rear ends, Chris. I'm sure they're like all over the place. I probably tripped over 3 of them going out to get my mail. Yeah, I like the 69 Roadrunners because of the 69 Trans Ams, because the hoods that they had on them were so cool. They had the kind of squared dual scoops that looked kind of cool. And then they had the wing type rear spoiler. uh, Mitch, my sister's boyfriend, pretty much brother-in-law by now, but he had a white '69 Camaro that had slot wheels on it, and I remember one time he had it for sale. I think back in the day when he listed it for sale, he was asking like $1,800 or something like that for it. He was showing me old pictures and stuff. He had at one time he had a '70 Barracuda, um, and he hit a side rail with it. And so then he bought like a '70 Duster with a 340, and I think his Barracuda only had a 318. So he sold the Barracuda to fix up the Duster.
Hmm.
Not too many people would do that these days with a '70 Barracuda. Hey,
Yeah.
Maximus.
Have a good night, Rick.
Maximus Wedgie. He likes the wide Kragers on the Belvedere. Yeah. Yeah, Jeff was instrumental in that. That was awesome. He was right. Get the wheels first and then make the axle fit. All right, Rick. Catch you later, man. Glad you stopped in, and definitely got to be in touch about like racing schedules and whenever we get a chance to kind of hook up. I don't know if Jeff's injected alky for years. Yeah, when it comes to mechanical fuel injection, because when uh, I love the looks of that injector hat, the Mr. Gasket fuel injection. Like when we had that sitting on the blower, I did a short. Jeff sold one of those to a Rooster, and it's got that. It's the same scoop as like on Brian's Duster, but then it's got the fuel block, and then it's got those fuel lines like all kind of on the side, and it just sits on a hat on top of a blower. That would be the ultimate look, to do. And they actually make those where they have computers now, so that you can run them like the modern kind of fuel injections. But they're like 6,000. I don't like the look of it that much. $6,000.
Good night, Black GTX.
That $6,000 buys you another car. A Black GTX.
Yeah.
Glad you stopped in. And like I said, now that we've kind of touched base, looking forward to seeing you at the car shows and stuff. That car is like one of my all-time favorites. Genuinely,
Oh, yeah.
because I've always told people my dream would be to have like a black '69 Roadrunner GTX, like my ultimate dream car. Yeah, yeah. It's hard when you got like when you have like a Trans Am. You think about like hitting the road, wide open, taking corners and stuff. So running like a 273, you know, um, it's counterproductive to like drag racing. But to me, those cars were kind of like a sports car. I mean, that's kind of they're dinosaurs by nowadays standards and stuff. But when I had my Trans Am or my Firebird, even I loved the way they handled. I could take corners way faster than my friends with their Novas and Chevelles. And my Trans Am had radial tuned suspension. It said so right on the dash. Which is one of those phrases that factories like to make up to make it sound like the cars are pretty special. But
Yeah.
but if you put like just little tweaks to the suspension with some modern parts, like if you put a subframe connector in there, I know like with my 71 Firebird, I was going to put like the Ride Tech rear suspension that kind of helped with handling, and subframe connectors in it so that I can take corners faster. But yeah, that had 373s in it with a 26-inch tall tire in the back, and it was pretty much revving out at 60, 65 on the highway. So that wasn't fun in that car. It was fun in town because you zipped around and but when you're on the highway, like taking corners and stuff, it's nice to have that taller gear in there so you can go a little faster. AT's Good Time Garage. Yeah, glad you stopped in, man. I really appreciate it. Really looking forward to any chance I get to like meet up with you guys again. I really don't think I'm gonna make mats this year. I got like too much going right now, building the Belvedere and then trying to get a trailer.
Yeah.
Plus, it's kind of almost still winter for us in March, so I would be probably leaving ice and snow to try to head to across the Rockies. Yeah, it gets to be a point in modifying cars where you wonder if you're splitting hairs, like, adding tubular control arms and that, the companies make it sound like you're really going to, make your car into something way better. But the reality of it is it really going to be that much of an upgrade for what you're doing? But anyway, it is getting kind of late, and I haven't even eaten.
Yeah.
The Ryan's good having
Well,
you on.
Yeah, you better go eat something.
And we'll be in touch, and then we'll be having updates and crossovers and more road trips, more Bigfoot podcasts.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Are you do you watch like Bigfoot Society and have you heard of that one?
I've seen a few things here and there, but not a lot.
He's actually pretty good too. Um, like Sasquatch or Bigfoot Odyssey, that one I don't like too much. It's a little too polished, but you'll have to try out Bigfoot Society, I think it is.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good one on just today. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it does make him a little bit better, but hey Jeff, I'll talk to you later, man.
Yep.
All right, guys. Good night. Good night, Ryan. Thanks
Good
for coming
night,
on.
everybody.